Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the September 4th business meeting of the Daytona Beach Community Redevelopment Agency, that is known as our CRA. We're happy and delighted to have each of you with us this evening. At this time, I would ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May? Here. Commissioner Cantu? Here. Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Chair Derek L. Henry.
Here. We'll now have the invocation, which will be led by Commissioner May, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Commissioner Strickland. Please rise for the invocation and pledge.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us in Daytona Beach. As always, we hope that this evening is going to be calm, composed, thoughtful, always keeping you in mind as citizens, both business, community, and tourism. You all comprise Daytona Beach, so thank you for taking your time and welcome. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the August 21st, 2024 meeting of the Community Redevelopment Agency.
We have a motion and we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. This time we will have our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, there are no changes for the CRA meeting tonight.
All right, no changes.
Move to approve the agenda for the CRA.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those in opposition, same sign. Thank you. This motion carries 7-0.
Okay. Move on to item number 6, which is our administrative items. Item 6A is the Finance Department Budget Division Fiscal Year 2024-25 budget for the Community Redevelopment Agency. This is a resolution public hearing. A resolution adopting the budget for the fiscal year October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025 for the Community Redevelopment Agency, prescribing net sources of revenue in an estimated amount of $11,119,463, setting forth operating expenditures, transfers, and capital expenditures in the amount of $11,119,463, and providing an effective date.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any questions or comments? Okay, have any speakers?
We do have speakers. Do we want to take the comments first or the speakers?
Typically, we would take the speakers first.
Okay. Our first speaker is Thomas Russell, and on deck is John Nicholson.
Thomas Russell, 2027 North Halifax Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida. My concern is the CRA budget that is going to be approved this evening. I happen to have property in the Ballou Road CRA, and I question what the money is going to be spent on and how, as a group, you can vote on something without having an itemized list. I hope that makes sense, and I hope I'm speaking at the right time for the right program. And that's what I need to do. That particular CRA, with the exception of some improvements on Ballou Road, the Yacht Club, NASCAR's big building, and Caribbean Jacks, nothing's ever been done with that money that can really be accounted for. And I'm concerned that it's, I hate to say this, not being used the way it should be used. Okay, thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is John Nicholson.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. Again, money. There's no delineation, and usually there is a delineation of the different CRAs. How much is in one CRA? How much is in another? There's $11 million. Okay, generally, Midtown gets $500,000, 250,000 or so. Downtown gets $1 million-ish. Very little goes to Blue Road or South Atlantic. They're almost in the negatives. Beachside gets about 5. So we've had an increase. Want to know where the increases are, and it should be available to the public. Again, we should know what are you going to spend it on. There was a meeting, and I was out of town at the time. There was concern about spending money on the beach side. It's been neglected for 20 years, except for 2 projects. And I was told that you all had spoken about the need to spend some money on the beach side and bring it up to standard, all right? It is our moneymaker for the city and our moneymaker for the county, and it's been terribly neglected. Atlantic Avenue, the Boardwalk, Ocean Avenue, Main Street, Seabreeze, to name just a few locations. So I'm wondering how much of the CRA funds will remain on the beach side. I've had that issue for 15, 20 years. I don't like the idea of being charged more for the services provided by the city than other CRA's areas. If they get charged $6,000 for a lawyer, why should we get charged $27,000 for the same lawyer? The idea that you have the money, therefore we can charge you more, does not seem kosher to me. So I'm asking that the numbers be available for Beachside, and that there be money from the general fund also be available for Beachside. Thank you.
Those were my only speakers on this item, Mr. Mayor.
All right, do we have any comments from Commission?
Yes, Mayor. I would like to know what the money is going to be spent on. I know that we have one plan for Midtown redevelopment, but for our beachside areas, I would like to know what the main priorities are going to be. In November, it's going to be 2 years that I've been elected to this position, and one good project has come out of the redevelopment is the grant program that they did for commercial refacing and interiors of the building. But I want to find out if there's anything we could do to promote a safer, cleaner area like on Beachside, because I know that was one of the priorities of the commission, that we did say that we were going to try to clean up Beachside a little bit. So if we could have someone from redevelopment maybe give us a couple of their priorities, because I have a list of things that I would like to see if they'll be able to do, if everyone else agrees on this.
Yeah.
I don't disagree, but I think one of the things that we must make sure that we address is the fact that much of the money is used for debt service and to pay debt to projects that are already in motion. So it looks to people as though you have $5 million, when in reality that's not all of what you have. So I don't, when you meet with staff, or it's appropriate for that to be addressed tonight, but certainly. And the other thing is, and I kind of know what's going on from my perspective, but the priorities of whatever's going on should be the priorities that we establish. So we shouldn't be in a position where we really don't know. But since we are, let's go ahead and have it remediated. Go ahead.
City Commission, Ken Thomas, Redevelopment Neighborhood Service Director. So we have 5 CRAs, and all of those 5 CRAs have different priorities. I don't know them right offhand, all of the priorities for all 5, but I can tell you we have a list, and that list is inclusive of roadway improvements. We spent money on underground utilities for ISB. We've given money to housing projects that are being developed now, first-time home buyers, acquisition of properties. So everything that we spend our money on is tied to the redevelopment plan. So your Midtown redevelopment plan, your Beachside redevelopment plan, all of those have priorities, and what we do is implement that plan. So if it's okay, Mayor, City Manager, we would like to I can bring back to you the prioritized list, so I don't just sit here and ramble on and try to remember all of the priorities we have that's within our in our action plan.
But your action plan is based off the redevelopment plan that has been approved by previous commissions.
Yes.
So any new item or new plan has to be brought back by the commissioners to change that plan. So everything that you all are presenting within the budget is part of the redevelopment plans that have been approved over the previous many years. And any acquisitions or changes from that plan have to come back and be approved by the commission, especially if they're over the $25,000.
Yes, sir. We don't do anything outside the redevelopment plan.
I guess my question would be, how far, if we have a plan, do we have a percentage total where 30% into the CRA with the plan, 70% following the plan, we've hit these targets? As a while back, we had sort of a milestone strategic meeting where we said, this is where we're going and this is what we've actually accomplished. So how far into that are we now? Based on the format.
Actually, every year we're required to give a annual report. So every year we have to produce an annual report for the general public. So all of those items that are in that redevelopment plan, and again, it goes from infrastructure improvement, housing, commercial development, grants, all those things are in that redevelopment plan. And as staff, we're trying to implement what's in those individual redevelopment plans. Young man brought up about Blue Road. Well, Blue Road needs some roadway improvements, and so right now we're in conversations. We're working with Public Works to reroute some of the roadway and make it more convenient for commercial development on Blue Road. But it's not ready yet to come before a vote because we're just working on the conceptual before we come to you all. So there's quite a bit in each CRA that, I mean, it's not just 4 or 5 items. I mean, there's a list of items in all 5 CRAs. And I'm sorry that I don't have them all on me today, but we'll be glad to bring them at a next meeting or so, Mayor.
That's fine by me, but I'm not the one asking the question. So,
Is it possible to bring a list so we could tell you what we would like you to prioritize? Because, I mean, for me, it would be something more about, maybe adding more trash pickup, getting someone to pick up the garbage, weekends, evenings. I know that we were also working on something with the permitting to get some events on the boardwalk. I don't know where we're standing with that, if that's included with this, or is this something different?
I think we also have to be mindful that with the additional items, if the funds are not coming into the CRA, we will have to rebudget and allocate from different areas. And so when I look at, and I just use, for example, the Blue Road, the amount of revenue that might be coming in may not be able to actually suffice to do the improvements that are needed on Blue Road. So we have to transfer, and that's why Mr. Thomas is talking about working with Public Works to figure out how do we transfer funds from the general fund to help with improving those roads. So when we talk about, I think the mayor made a statement about paying off debt service for things that are already in plan. It's not as simple as just saying, let's add additional things to the budget. If those funds are not coming in, we would have to transfer those funds from the general fund if there's only so much coming in from the area. So if we are changing the priorities of the master plans, that will have to be something that is done by the entire commission to change the direction of what we want staff, as you want us as staff members to go forward from the master plan that might have been created 3 years ago, 5 years ago, or 10.
And the mayor, I forgot to mention, is one of our advisory board meetings the Beachside advisory board meeting. For a number of months, we would have these meetings with the advisory board once a month, and we would get on topics that really is not pertinent to the redevelopment plan. So what we're going to do this month is we're going to allow the advisory board to come up with some priorities. But those priorities have to be connected to the redevelopment plan, the goals of the redevelopment plan. So at the next advisory board meeting, that's what we're going to focus in on is what are the priorities of the Beachside Redevelopment Advisory Board, and give us that so we can bring it back and connect it with what our commission and what our CRA plan was developed for, so that we're working on one priority collectively.
Well, since you're here and you're talking about it, me personally, for Beachside, the priority would be to maybe get more trash removal, get someone there to actually clean daily and like evenings and weekends. Also, another thing, priority, get some sort of events on the boardwalk, something small, not that requires a lot of investment, that we could have private entities maybe rent space on the boardwalk to bring something there, because I know that we have private property that's there that's vacant that we can't really do anything about it, but maybe we could generate some kind of activity on the boardwalk. So, I mean, that's my priority. I don't know if anybody wants to add to that, so they have some sort of direction.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor, I did have someone
Thank you.
else sign up to speak, if you wanted to allow them to speak.
Where's Miss Ruby? She's,
Oh,
I didn't see
she's
her.
in the corner.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Was going to do this during general public comment, but thank you for, on this topic. Ann Ruby, 137 Park Avenue. One of my pet peeves about the Community Redevelopment Board here is that you only meet when there's something really urgent to vote on, when you have to vote. And what I'm hearing Commissioner Paris say is I would like to meet and be able to have something of a discussion. Because having that kind of discussion right now about a budget is not really the time to do it. So I would suggest, and I know very few people have the appetite for more meetings, but maybe every quarter, the CRA board meets, or every 6 months, to have a discussion on priorities, on accomplishments versus goal setting, where they are with the objectives being met. So that the CRA board needs to be more proactive, and right now you're just reactive to what needs to be voted on, to be passed, to keep it running. So if you want to have a really dynamic CRA, the CRA board is going to need to meet more often. And I know that nobody wants to hear that, but I think that's what needs to happen. Thank you.
I personally do not disagree with that assessment. With the exception, I would add that I do believe that there is a plan in place, and because there is a plan in place, staff is charged with executing that plan. I feel that over a number of years, the plan is what's in place and you kind of keep it going. Some years ago, we did meet more often, and I do believe that there should be some form of strategic planning, even for the CRA, in the same vein that we have strategic planning for the regular commission. But I also believe that there should be reporting and a metrics revelation on the part of the staff to say what it is that we have accomplished and what it is that we haven't accomplished. And I believe that for a lot of us, we don't understand how much of the CRA is already allocated. And that needs to be explained in a way that it's, something that everyone can digest and understand. And so it's been over a number of years that I've known that just a lot of the money is allocated to certain things, including things that we value. Most of the things that you would see are things that we value or that we want. Certainly, I concur with your assessment that Boardwalk is in need of, I think it's one of the 5 most important areas for our posterity, for our consideration. That Boardwalk is, and I've said it before, it's an embarrassment. Doesn't meet the standard of our community. But we don't, so much of it we don't control. But it doesn't mean that some of the low-hanging fruit that you suggest. Even if it was, you know, and we do support it in part through CRA funds. We support the concerts. It's a major investment from us. So I don't want people, and we've supported the cleanup of much of what we did on the Beachside Action Committee, all of that. So there are things that are done. I just think that much of it needs to come in the way of education from both staff and collaboration with us, talking with them to know what they're doing, what's going on, and what we want. Yes, sir. Commissioner Strickland.
And you know I wanted to talk.
I feel you.
The prior to 2011 was a whole different game, because at that time we could use eminent domain to take private property and give it to a developer to do something with. And then in 2011, that rule changed, and all that property over there, most of that property is owned by Carlsbad, I think. And so until they're ready to do something, our hands are kind of tied. That's all private property now, rather than people that owned by people that want to continue to run the stuff that was on the boardwalk, the games and that sort of thing, the go-kart track, the rides. You know, we're kind of at the mercy of the property owner, and I don't know how we could go about motivating them to do something with that. And what's legal, we'd have to have a good talk with our city attorney over there as how we could do that. Although I'm not sure that we can do that at this time.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. It's an embarrassment. We need to do something. We need some. How can it be a boardwalk when it doesn't have any rides and stuff? You know, we just have some vacant land over there. So whatever we need to do, we're gonna have to incentivize that, I'm sure. And I'm not a big fan of incentives, but that's what it takes to bring our boardwalk back. We're gonna have to do it.
It's ironic that we would be having this conversation, because I met, I think, last week with a couple members of the chamber class for this year. And that's one of the beachside and beachside redevelopment is their main focus for this year. So they interviewed me and grilled me in a great way. It elicited responses that I knew were within, but I also know that we don't control most of it. But the attitude has to be there. And I think that you have to keep the attitude that you have. You know, so I want to encourage you as a commissioner, Beachside commissioner, to keep the attitude that says that this has to be a priority. And now that you're expressing the attitude, I think we as a commission should respond to that by saying that we want to meet in 3 months. We'll give you 3 months to come back with a report on all 5 CRAs. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you need to tell us what's going on in those CRAs. We can come with some low-hanging fruit. You come with your idea. I would suggest that in the meantime, that all of you who have ideas meet with staff to see what are the things that are not going to upset the budget right now that we might be able to do to make the agenda come to fruition.
So part of that, Commissioner Paris talked about the branding a while back. A few years back, I was asking, could we do something as simple as wrap something that we own to give it some sort of cohesiveness, some sort of concept, theme throughout the city? CRAs are a great way to start. We keep having the conversation, but to date, nothing has really happened yet. That's the first thing. Second thing is, where are we on the QR codes? And I still continue to support your idea of having a very active historic trail that runs through the CRAs. We have so many assets within the CRAs that I would like to see them come together in a plan. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping the CRA can work with that a little bit. That's what I'd like to see. And it's in line with your vision.
Yeah. And I would also say that when we talk about low-hanging fruit like wraps and things on Main Street, wrapping planters and things of that nature, this is a perfect use for the COVID funds that we had to incentivize those areas. Perfect use, and you don't have to do a whole lot, but once you, what I mean by saying keep it active, engage it, you know, even as a commissioner, while we have these opportunities, go ahead and find those areas to say that we want to invest, even if it's in something like a wrap or more signage when you talk about branding. Those are things, Commissioner Cantu's branding signs are, I think, one of the best things to come from the commission in this way. And we've had a lot of just great ideas. I say that about many of the things that you all do. But I think that those signs are a perfect expression of saying that we are a city that's engaged and we want investment. Okay? And we want you to come and invest on this beach side and on this boardwalk. And we have had opportunities. 6 years ago, we thought we had a gentleman who came in and they were going to build a Ferris wheel. You guys remember, I think. I met with him multiple times. Just didn't come to fruition. But heaven knows that I think that one of the things we need most are rides and engagement on the boardwalk. So, staff, do you all follow what we're asking? 3 months, is that too long, Commissioner? How long you want, Commissioner? Well, let's go beyond the list, though. Now, when we have the list, we're gonna have a list, we're also gonna have a meeting, so that we can go over the list and we can talk about what we like, what we don't like. What's the date?
September.
September what, 4th? Okay. Second meeting in October. Okay? All right, but you keep the 5, and I'll be supportive. I think the commission will be. Okay. Any other? No. All right. No other comments? What do we have? We have a motion?
We do.
Okay, and the second, who was the motion?
The motion was Commissioner May, and the second was Commissioner Reed.
Okay, May and Reed. And no further comment or questions. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. Now, that meeting should be a 5 o'clock meeting, so that we have 1 hour before the commission meeting. Okay.
We're going to move on to item 6B, which is the redevelopment and neighborhood services, approval of purchase of contract for one parcel. This is a resolution approving expenditure of GPM 2023 Midtown Community Redevelopment Area Loan Fund to purchase one parcel located at 125 and 127 North Helme Place from Edward King at a purchase price of $220,000 plus up to $12,000 in associated transaction costs, subject to terms and conditions of the as-is residential contract for sale and purchase, and providing an effective date.
So, second.
We have a motion. We'll take it from Commissioner May and a second from Commissioner Reed.
I don't have any speakers for this item, Mr. Mayor.
Do we have any questions or comments regarding this item? Yes, ma'am.
I was just curious if they could explain why we're paying 169% over their. If someone could explain why we're paying 169% over their appraised price?
Again, Mayor Ken Thomas, redevelopment. The appraised value is at 130, and we're paying about 212 for the property. And it's a duplex. It is a property that someone was living in it. And so that particular area, of course, is an area where we're trying to redevelop. So we negotiated. We had a realtor who was helping us to negotiate on this side. And in that area, though, just on the other side of the street, there was a property that was purchased. I think it was purchased just over $300,000.
I'm just curious because our appraisal came back at 130. And did we pay to have that person move out of the duplex?
No,
I mean,
no. They have moved out now. They are out now
So who
because
did
they
the
know.
negotiation, the city or the real estate?
Oh, it was we did the negotiation, of course, with the realtor.
And you said the duplex was one owner.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. This is like the second property in this area that we purchased, correct?
Yeah, we've actually made 1, 2, 3,
Three purchases.
4, yeah.
This area.
Vacant lot, the 2 properties on ISB. And we have like 5 other acquisitions to make from ISB to Helme Street.
How close are they? What can we do with them until we can do what we want to do? Is there anything we can do there now?
They're actually scattered. So, and I hate to get there in the weeds, but on Helme Place itself, from ISB and Helme, there's an industrial building with vacant land with the house that we're purchasing now, the duplex we're purchasing, and 2 vacant lots. And one of those vacant lots that we own already. And on the west side of the roadway, we've purchased everything out on ISB and Helme, but there's 3 single-family houses that are rented right now that we need to purchase.
But this is, this area is part of your master plan for the Midtown area that encompasses the town center, the hotel components, right there off of MLK. So they're actually going after properties that the CRA boards and previous administrations have said go after these properties. And there is one area that I've encouraged staff to look at, of properties that we've purchased that could be set up for certain things in that area, dealing with the food court type process, if we're able to clean up those areas. And so these are part of your whole, the Midtown plan, unless you all want to change the Midtown plan.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
And I
So-
know why we're purchasing it. So now you've said something that could be something potential that we can do while we own it. So a food
And
truck.
one has a billboard on top, billboard. And I think we got another 2 years before that lease runs out.
Okay.
And the billboard is on top of the building that fronts ISB.
Well, I remember watching the presentation. I just don't understand why we have to pay way over the property appraisals.
Because the property in the area was sold for more as well, so it's.
Over 300, yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Thomas.
It's a tough process. Thank you.
Well, let me ask you something. Is it still a buyer's market or a seller's market? Whose market is it? Always a tough thing,
I
huh?
think it's sellers.
Is it the buyer's market?
It's the sellers market.
Just asking, because she's saying that, you know, she's saying that it's well over appraised value. But we know what our objective is. But we have to have good stewardship at the same time. So, is this good stewardship? Staff, is this good stewardship? Do you believe, based on everything that you're telling us?
If you all receive we went out for loans for acquisitions of properties through the CRA. If we want to continue to go after these type of things, these are the type of projects we're going to bring forward. If you all decide that that's not the route, you know, that's the thing.
We're
But
not
this- we-
deciding that.
Yeah, we believe that this is a good purchase to move forward with what needs to take place on that property.
Yeah, I don't think we're deciding that, because I think we all know what the vision is. We want that vision. We want to see that happen. And sometimes you have to experience a little pain, you know, and I'm just being transparent with us and with the community. Sometimes you have to experience a little, because I know where I stand. Sometimes you have to experience a little pain, and it has to hurt a little bit to get to where you want to go. But I have great ambition for the community. I don't have marginal ambition. And so sometimes this is what it takes.
And then when properties around it are going for higher than what they're worth, and then people know you want to buy it, they're going to try to raise the price.
I
That's
didn't
just
see that.
life.
I didn't see that in the backup. And I understand the vision that you want to go, and I want to go there too. But also, I want to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and I just can't come to terms to agree of 169% over appraisal amount. I mean, that's my personal opinion. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind.
yeah, you're not.
But
I understand.
But I didn't hear 169. Didn't he say 200 and something?
it was, well, 220, and then I guess he's telling, what, 212 it changed?
It's 220.
It's 220, right,
220.
yeah. But I think he said 212 when he came up, so, okay.
Okay. All right, we have a
That would be
motion.
169%.
We have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
No.
5-2.
5-2. All right, motion carries 5-2.
That was our final agenda item.
All right, this concludes our CRA meeting. If there are no comments from the members of the commission or the CRA, we will adjourn. Do we have a comment?
I just want to know if there's any update on 777 Main, Senior Frogs, and also the request for proposal on the lot on Earl and Peninsula.
No, we don't have any updates.
Okay.
I think that was, yeah.
What is the time frame when we're negotiating? I mean, it's been over a year on certain projects.
In reference to, the staff keeps going through the process. Unless you all as a commission decide that you don't want us to keep negotiating, we continue to try to negotiate the best option for the city to bring back to you all.
Well, how long is everybody willing to wait for negotiations?
Well, we own the property, so we're negotiating.
Jeff wants to give some more.
Okay.
Mayor, Commissioners, Jeff Brown, Economic and Strategic Opportunities Director. Commissioner Paris, we have a meeting next week with the representative from 777 Main. I know the Senior Frogs asked for an extension, I believe, until the end of October to meet one of their milestones. And Michael Stallworth's actually the one who is spearheading that, and he's on vacation this week. But I do know we've had conversations a couple of weeks ago about that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do we have any information on the RFP for the property?
You gave us two, what was the deadline that they provided us? When do we have to bring the RFP back?
Ken just need to stay up front.
End of September is when it's supposed to come back. Thank you. I think that's what's the time frame that the meeting, okay.
All right. This concludes our meeting. We will start our regularly scheduled commission meeting in 5 minutes.